But thank you everybody for tuning in to Blacklisted MX once again. It's a pleasure to be back. I was away for a little over a month. Um, I was able to pick up a title sponsor while I was there. Shout out to the guys at Slow Ride Garage. Slow Ride. When I went out to California, I spent a week with them at a place called King of the Hammers, which is a big off-road event. So I spent a week just camping, being around their organization. They run like a Class 11 off-road race team, and they sponsor other drivers in other classes as well. But it was a pleasure just kind of being in their presence, um, being able to pull them in as a sponsor. And Donnie, he's a guy who runs the organization. I've been a friend of his for about 30 years now, and for him to bring in motocross inside his organization, it was a pleasure working with him and seeing how everything works, and then bringing these guys into my program as well. So shout out to Slow Ride Garage, one of the very first sponsors who stepped up to the plate. Thank you for looking out, and I appreciate you guys aboard Blacklisted MX. But today we got a special guest. I always say our guests are special. They are to me because they don't get the recognition they deserve. A lot of guys aren't. You don't really hear too much about them unless you're a local guy. Some guys do, some guys don't. But this is a guy who's out of Massachusetts. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Well,
and his name is Ty. Let me get that last name correct,
yeah,
man. Lepicier. How do you say your last name?
Lepicier. It's kind of ironic. I'm American, but it's French Canadian.
Okay. So where's your last name come from?
I think
Moms,
cool.
pops.
Yeah. My dad.
Okay. Right on. All right, man. Let's get this interview. So you reside out in Massachusetts, man. Was most of your racing done out on the East Coast?
Yeah. Last year, growing up, I stayed kind of on the East Coast, and then as I got more serious, kind of started doing Loretta Lynn's. Went out to Alabama to Mill Creek when that was really big. That's 10 years ago now. Always chased Loretta's kind of growing up, and then now kind of the goal and the plan has shifted to East Coast. I'm not far from Ontario. Like most of the Canadian rounds, other than the West Coast, are like 5, 6, 9 hours away, which is really convenient. And that's kind of what connected me with Canada last year. I didn't have my pro card points for America yet. And I actually was planning to go to Loretta's in the B class, and I was all set to do that. And then I kind of shifted, kind of in the middle of the year, and then we kind of made things work. Went up to Walton one, kind of had some good things going, some not so good things going, but it was a good experience. And my goal now is to just keep getting those pro points. I've got one in April coming up, April 1st, I think, at Walden in New York. I think I just need one or two more Pro-Am races, and I'll have the pro card here, all good. But I still want to be in Canada, even if I have my pro card here. I think it's a great platform, and I think even especially this year, the field is stacked, and especially in the 250 class.
Yeah, it is. You're gonna have some competition cut out
Yeah.
for you this year for sure. But before we get into the pro classes, when you were racing amateur, when did you decide that you wanted to go pro and you wanted to cross the line, the border, to be able to come over here and race Walton?
So I think that idea kind of started. I met a good guy. His name's Cale Callan, kind of through a mutual friend through snowcross. And he said, "Hey, come over, come race." And he was nice enough to let me pit with them and help us out throughout the day. And so that's kind of who proposed that idea. I knew it existed. I just didn't know how serious it was. And I'm glad that he put the word in my mouth or the word in my head. Sorry, because it's a great series, and it's not as strict as American racing, which is great. Like the pit setup and everything, there's not a pro pit that you need to pay to be in, and you can just go talk to anyone, and it's super. Everyone's super cool. It's different in its own ways. Everything is, but I enjoyed it. The track, Walton, they do not give it enough credit. It's gnarly. It's very hard packed. It's very rutted. It's just a gnarly track, and it separates people for sure. Definitely.
Okay,
Uh,
now you came over here last year at your first races in Walton. You said you did. I mean, it wasn't so good and it wasn't so bad. Why was that?
so I just kind of wasn't prepared enough. I kind of wasn't sure where I would be. I was on a stock bike, which wasn't ideal, but we're there to race, right? So we're going to race. We're going to make it happen. And um, as far as track wise, in New England, I was riding at the time. I was riding a lot of like Southwick. I'm very close to Southwick, so I was riding that and Winchester and these sandier type tracks. I got up to Walton, and I was like, whoa, like it's so hard packed. It's just like a different. We have hard packed tracks in New York, but they kind of give way. This track just does not. It was. I struggled with it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I also struggled more than I thought I would with the three motos so close together. Two 30-minute motos, I could stay sprinting till the end. I could stay um, charging the whole time, not a problem. The little rests in between and then right back out um, got to me. Not so much endurance wise. It was just if I had a bad hiccup or something in a moto, just overcoming that quickly and then just getting
Mm-hmm.
right back out there. That's definitely something I think I've since fixed. But it was a huge eye opener for sure. It was fun though. I had fun.
Good, 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 good. Glad you came over here and made your presence known. Uh, how do you support your racing? Like, what do you do as a privateer, and who funds all your racing for you to actually come over here and race?
Um, right now myself, man. So I kind of in my back of my head, I just made this plan. Like my last big race was the MX 207 main event in Maine. That's a big race, and it's kind of at a time of the year where there's not a lot of other stuff going on. It's in August,
Mm-hmm.
so I did that, and then sold put my one of my bikes for sale, and then I honestly have not rode since. I've been working 6 7 days a week, 60 70 hour weeks, and I've just been just stacking up, staying in the gym, doing what I got to do. And I know it's not ideal. It's not where I would want to be, but we're going racing for a full
Okay.
year. And I'll be fully prepared. I won't be on a stock bike. I'll be on the good equipment that I know I need to be on and can be on. And so in a way, it was like I said before. There's pros and cons, but I think I've kind of leveled that out, and I'm right. I haven't been felt so excited to like go ride than this year, honestly.
So,
Which
so go ahead.
no, I was just saying, which is like that's key. I feel like just to mentally be that into it is cool.
Yeah, definitely. So you're making your return in 2023, and you're going to run all the East Coast rounds of the Triple Crown this year. You have
Yep.
everything set up. You got motors done. You got mechanics. How are you mapping out your trip? Are you going to go round for round? Because last year you only did one race here, and you kind of got a feel for it. But this year, are you planning on coming here a bit early to be able to check out some of the tracks to get more of a feel for it? Are you going to go for round for round? How are you mapping everything out?
I'll definitely get up to. I think it's AMO does a race before Walton one. Definitely go up to that. Ride Walton. Like I said, 5 hours away. That's probably New Jersey or Pennsylvania. So it's just a little bit harder to get into Canada, but in that sense, it's pretty easy to get up there for a weekend and go ride that track. I'm also not opposed to going to go for dunes and Sandali and doing all those tracks just to get seat time under me. It's hard to do that here. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
close to Southwick, which is very helpful. That's a track that I can ride that gets similar, not the same, similar to how the National is because at the end of the day, it gets so rough. So I kind of want to do the same thing with Walton. Just get up there as much as I can, and that'll definitely be a goal of mine is just to get up there and try to just be where I can. Like Hayden Deegan did that before he did Pro Nationals. Was he would go to all the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's Hayden Deegan and he's going to be fast no matter what. But it certainly gave him that edge. So I just every advantage I can, I'm going to take it.
Okay. Now you're racing the 250 class. There's going to be a defending champion here. There's going to be guys who want the title. Um, you're one of the guys that's coming over. There's some other guys that's coming from the states and other places.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel like your preparation is now? As let's just say when you get here, are you ready physically, mentally now? Are you kind of get ready physically, mentally when you're here to kind of blend yourself in the sport, and because it's just going to be a different ball game. Like I said, you only had one race here, and there's guys here that's been here for years, and guys that's been coming and leaving, for a few years here and there, and they got a really good sense of feel of what's going on. Where are you going to carry yourself at when you get here, or how are you going to
Um,
carry yourself out?
yeah. So as far as preparation as a whole, I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I'm behind at a disadvantage, and that's perfectly cool with me. It's just how I can manage that and just be consistent. Because even the best guys sometimes will have bad days. If I can just try to limit that mentally, physically, I could go race. Obviously, bike shape is different than just great physical shape, So get that seat time under me. There's a few guys that I've kind of built relationships with that I can go ride with that are very fast, and I can chase them around, and I'll be at pro-ams and stuff before I go up there. Get my motos in, get my seat time in, and by the first one, I feel like I'll be pretty close to where I want to be at. Obviously, things change and anything can happen, but I'm confident I can. I know it sounds nuts, but I feel like I can just get myself slowly, one day at a time. Um, just as long as I'm comfortable, I can just keep building, and that's kind of what my on paper my plan is. Right? Obviously, it might not go straight, but
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna have your ups and downs for sure when you get here, man, and it's gonna be a learning curve for you as well, um, just like it is for everybody. Um, how come? I know you need a few more points to be AMA pro, to make it AMA pro.
yep.
How come you decided not to stay there, get your AMA points, and ride a couple nationals there?
I when I decided to switch to come to Canada, and do all of that, it was kind of in like June, July, and I did the programs that were in within like 10 hours of driving. I did two of them. At the time of the year, they just weren't feasible to go across the country to do them. Unfortunately, at the time, um, because I was originally, like I said, I planned to go to Loretta's in 250B mod, and
Hmm.
450B mod, and then it switched, and then because I realized I could also race pro in Canada, but then race the V class here. So then I decided I would just focus on that. Let's not spend the money on Loretta's. Let's go up there to Canada and let's try to focus on that. Um, but yeah, I've done two pro-ams so far. One in Maine and then one in New York. And I did well at both. The tricky thing with the pro-ams is I could go down to Texas all winter long and do all the pro-ams, but if there's 6-10 riders on the gate, I'm gonna get less points than I would for a 10th overall, like I had at MX207.
Makes
Um,
sense.
so the one in April will be a big one. It's like the first one in the Northeast, and there's always a lot of guys that show up to those ones.
Hmm.
So it'll be a good race. And I could go there and I could have a huge eye opener there. I'm very much going to be behind guys coming down from Florida or down south, wherever they are. But I know that, and I'm not gonna. I have that in the back of my head, and obviously I'm going to prepare as much as possible and be ready to go. But if something doesn't go as I want it to, just 5 minutes, worry about it, and then let it go.
Yeah.
Because I got a whole year of you know what I mean. Just one race in April is not going to make or break me.
So when you get your pro points, your AMA points, and you got your number for AMA, your AMA license, and you're in the States, are you still planning on coming to Canada and race, or do you actually want to try to qualify for some of the nationals and supercrosses there in the States?
I think I'll do a little bit of both. I definitely want to be at Southwick and Unadilla. Those are the ones that are closer to me at that time of year when I'll have everything transferred over to be able to race in America professionally. Um, and then Canada is. I just want to be there as much as possible too. I wouldn't. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't go down to Pala over Walton.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, You know what I mean? So I think Canada is a great spot for me. If I do well there, I can get more reach. Whereas if I get even a top 20 in America, it's tough. It's tough. Um, it's so cutthroat, but it's I keep coming back. So, um, but yeah, I'll try to even where I am and go from there.
yeah. It makes sense, man. What you're doing. I can't wait to see you here. I can't wait to meet you here when you come here for some of
Yeah,
the rounds here in Canada, man. It's a pleasure having you on the show. But before we wrap this interview up, man, do you have any questions for myself?
I appreciate the time and it's been good. I know I you didn't mention it, but I reached out to you, and I appreciate you putting me on here, and I think it'll go a long ways, and I think we'll have a good year.
My pleasure, man. And then I'll meet you at the track. We'll shake hands, man, and say what's up, and then we can do an on-spot interview. Let me know how your season's going at that point, and then we just carry it on from there, man. That's how we build relationships.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, D.
All right, not a problem, man. Take care. All right, peace.